So now that you all came up with a few, some of them are what's on the screen here, and that just came up, interest rates might go up. So you can write that one down there. And so I'll comment on each one, and then I'm going to show you how to have a conversation with the seller on just a couple of them. And I'll get you to role play at least once. Don't switch, just because of time factor. And it's just a matter of having a conversation. We'll probably have a conversation on just the first two. But the first one, interest rates might go up. So we're talking sellers, right? We're talking sellers. Now we know that if interest rates go up a lot or consistently, that house values will either stay the same or drop. They typically won't go up if interest rates go up. There's the exception. There's certain communities that prices always go up no matter what's going on, like Malibu or something, or some of those places. But just typically, the average sale priced home, the average community, the average person that qualifies and all this kind of stuff, if interest rates go up, we'll talk about how it could affect the value of the home. Let's talk about how interest rates could affect the seller if they have to buy. Okay, so if you're selling someone's house and they want to upsize or downsize, doesn't matter. The point is, if interest rates go up, and let's pretend that right now their house is worth $500,000, and they want to move across town, basically the same approximate value, going from northeast to southwest, basically the same, pretty well same value. So they're buying something at $500,000. So without overthinking it, because we know that if their house goes down, that what they're buying goes down, we know all that stuff. But interest rates is the key. Somebody's paying cash, this matters. How prices going up and down, that really matters. Interest rate, if somebody's getting financing, it's interest rates that matter, not the price of the house. I mean, they'll say it matters, and we all feel that, but think about it. Somebody finances 95%, well, actually they're at 95%, they're financing 99.5%. You know why? When you put down 5%, guess what happens with that money?
Mortgage insurance.
Yeah.
CMHC takes 4.5% out of the 5. So only 0.5% actually goes towards the property. So if it's 20 grand, they take 18 grand. And so you still have to get financing for that part. Okay? And I hope all you new people realize that, because when you're talking to buyers, they have to know this kind of stuff. They're like, you're lucky in Alberta, they don't have to pay a property transfer tax as well, because I'm dealing with a coach of somebody in BC, and her client has to wait till they come up with another $30,000 for the title transfer. So they got to come up with $40,000 for the 5% down, plus another $30,000 for the title transfer. And that'll be coming here someday. I don't know when, but it will. So you know how they are with this kind of stuff, right? But we don't have it right now, so that's fine. So what we need is they have to understand that if they're going to buy something, so remember, we are on the listing appointment right now. We're not doing any of this on the phone. Can we be very clear on that? Yes?
Yes.
You don't ever do this stuff. You don't email it to them, go over it with them on the phone. Now, could there be an exception to this? Sure. What if you're talking to a buyer in Toronto, or a seller, in Toronto, that has a property here in Calgary, and you have to do it on Zoom? I get it. But let's go back with what we normally are committed to doing, and that's in person, face-to-face. Sounds good?
Yeah.
Okay? And believe me, a lot of people are still trying to do everything automated where they never have to be in front of a seller face-to-face. It's not going to happen. Okay? So if it does, it's an extreme exception. Back to normal stuff. You have the sellers here. You sit down. You might have already gone over some of the sales process, but then they still want to wait. So you say, let me show you something that might make a difference. You'll hand this paper over to them. And you'll say, so what's the first one there? I think it's interest rates, right? And they'll go, yeah. And you'll say, okay, well, since you're going to be buying, let's just talk about that for a second. So let's have a little open forum here for a second, okay? So after you sell their house, they want to buy a place for $500 next year. What have you heard about interest rates? What's going to happen by this time next year? Give me an example or an idea. You guys, have you heard anything? Anything at all? Nothing? Okay, I'll tell you what I've heard. Is interest rates just went up and they're going to go up again. And I heard they're going to go up again.
Yeah.
And I heard they're going to go up again.
Yeah.
And I heard they're going to go up again.
Yeah.
Anybody else heard this?
Yeah. 6 times next.
Okay, well, if you did hear it, please let me know, because I thought you guys didn't know. All right, so you did know. So now we just have to have a conversation with them and say, here's what we've heard that's going to happen. So right now, the best interest rate that we can get is...
No.
Right now.
No.
Now.
Today.
4.9.
Oh, 4.9.
Because all of you should know this for sure,
Yeah.
right? Right now, your mortgage broker that told you And what is the best?
4.9.
4.9, okay. So, and if interest rates go up 75 points right away, and again in the spring and again in the fall, by this time next year, it's gonna be probably at least 200 points or 2% higher.
Yeah.
So we're looking at 6.9. So let's just round it off, you'd say to them. Okay, so we'll round it off just to do some math. So let's do some math. You guys are the seller and I'm the realtor. So at 500,000, we're financing the whole thing basically because the CMHC fees at 5%. Our payments would be about 2,500. So go ahead and write that down somewhere. On the blank piece of paper is the best, not on your page, not on this page for sure. Okay, so they're going to be paying about 2,500 a month. Is that PIT or PI? What I just said. Trick questions? Okay, do you guys know what PIT is? Who just took their course? They know.
Principal and interest.
Well, you know what happens after we push the button and 70% is 100? We forget 90% of it. Just picking on you. But PIT stands for principal, interest, and taxes. And when I said a general, like I said 2,500 bucks, that's not how you would do it. You would go onto your phone to a mortgage app. Who has that on their phone? Okay. And you'd put in, you know, 500,000 or financing $499,500 at 4.9%, 5-year term, 25-year amortization, and it would say probably something different than 2,500, but ballpark, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so just so you understand how you do it, you just say, okay, so it's about 2,500 if you buy a house now for 500,000. Let's say we wait a year, and that house comes down 5% because interest rates went up. Okay, so now what's 5% of 500,000? 25,000? So now they can get that same house for 475. How do you feel about that?
Good.
Good. Now times it by 7% interest. And guess what that is? It's 2,900 a month. Now go ahead and look at your paper there. What was the first payment?
25.
Now house is less, but interest rate's more. What's your payment?
29.
So what's the difference?
400.
Times how long is your term?
5 years.
You tell them a 5-year. That's 60 months. What's 60 times 400 bucks? It's $24,000. So put that into the cost of waiting right now. Okay, go ahead and do that. And then I want you to, after you write it in, I want you to cross it out. And say, let's say we're only half right, and put 12,000. Okay? Cross it off at 12,000. If you do it exactly what I say, when you go back and look at your notes, you'll remember this conversation we had, yes? If somebody has said, oh, I don't want to mess up my page, then when you go back later and look, you're not going to remember anything that we're talking about. So please make lots of notes, make it messy. Did you do it? You got your 24, and you got, yeah. So I'm just trying to help you so that you can make this into a reference guide. So you can say someday, oh, the cost of waiting, that's right. Oh, what did he talk about again? You know, I don't have time to listen to audio tracks. Let me go look at the page. You look at it here and say, oh, yeah, I remember that. Yeah, I can bring that up today on the appointment. But you still listen to the audio track on the way to the appointment, because on the way there, the audio track will say something, and you'll go, oh, good, I just heard. I'm going to use that just now, too. It happens every time.
True.
It happens every time. It's just the weirdest thing, but it does. So, if we wait, you know, and some people will just do this. Now, you got many scenarios. I know that gears are going for all of us. Yeah, but Dwayne, then, you know, they'll get that one for less, but then their house would be worth less. Yeah, they'll have a double whammy. Double whammy, because their payments are way up there. What about, Dwayne, when the scenario is that prices are going up? Well, they're not right now. We'll talk about it in a second. Or interest rates are going down. That's not what's going on. So let's just talk about what's going on for now. So if somebody says they wanted to wait to buy, you know, how long should they wait if they want to have the lowest payments?
Today.
Yeah, it's right now. If somebody says, I want to sell and buy. So you say, okay, if you wait till next year, your house might go down in price. So it goes down 5%. So if it's worth 500,000 now, excuse me, it would be for the next one here. Your house might be worth less. It could be, what's 5% of what it's worth now? 25,000. So put 25,000 in there, cross it out, but what if we're only half right? And put that in 12.5, right? I always say, what if we're only half right? Then it still has some impact. What if they say, I don't think my house is going to go down in value by next year? What do we say? Well, here's something to remember. Listen very carefully. Maybe even write this down. The customer is always
Right.
right, even if they're
Wrong.
wrong. Did you write that down?
Yes.
The customer is always right, even if they're wrong. So if they say it's not gonna happen, you have to say, no problem, just put 0 in there. Just simple as that, don't fight it. As soon as you disagree with them, you may as well put your lips together, kiss that one goodbye and head out. Don't ever disagree with them, not on any major level. There might be the odd little thing, well, let me show you something, and then they go, oh, so it's not like that? And you go, I don't wanna say they're wrong, you just go, eh. You gotta get them to say it all the time. You gotta give everything to them. You have to show them how everything works. You gotta get them to write down the numbers. If you're a realtor that's gonna say, you know what, if you wait, the interest rates are gonna go up and you're gonna have payments of this, it's gonna cost, you're gonna lose 25,000 bucks. You're gonna get this. Just wait for you to get done. They've already made up their mind, they're not using it. Because they just think you're just using